All right, ni hao ma. We got retail sales coming up. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of more than 20,000 foreign exchange traders. We gather here today to conduct technical and fundamental analysis with the overriding goal of planning our trades in advance because trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. All right, so we got retail sales coming out, and we are going to use the TRADARS headline news squawk box. It's a free service by traders.com for traders and investors. I run it on YouTube for free. Most people would pay $1 or $2, $3, even $450 a month for a service similar to this. This one's free. Cool. So we're going to use this. So it's streaming on Traders YouTube channel. But because we got news coming out here at Forex.Today, usually I do the live stream a little bit later, but I thought I'd catch this news because it's very important news. So we can get the news in real time. We can get the headlines in real time. We can get the patterns in real time, all that kind of stuff. And I can talk over it. So I don't think I'm going to do big presentation and stuff. I think we can just talk over this and then move on.com. Okay. If you're going to execute on your trades, not just research it, okay, you need an ECN. Let me say this again. You, Forex trader, you need an ECN. Do not use a broker that's not an ECN. This is not even like my opinion. This comes down to like, how do brokers work? Most brokers benefit when you lose. That just strikes me the wrong way. You need an ECN that provides you a service. The straight through processing, it's quick, it's cheap, and that's what you need. So find yourself an ECN. Here's a place to start. Okay, let's get a quick update. We still have about 11 or 10 and a half minutes until the actual news. Let's get a news update. Hey, traders.com, give us a news headline update. Wait, I think I turned the audio
Wall
off.
Street poised to open in negative territory.
Do it again. Wait. I had turned it off. Huh. I might have messed with it. Hang on.
Wall Street poised to open in negative territory. U.S. retail sales and Canadian CPI light up the calendar.
Mexican consolidates near 20 teaser collars ahead of Fed and Banxico meetings. UK wage growth suggests gradual interest rate cuts.
U.S. dollar Canadian dollar reaches multi-year highs near 1.4300 amid the Canadian political crisis.
Euro U.S. dollar price forecast. Sellers hold the grip, paused. Euro U.S. dollar. German survey data comes mixed. Scotiabank. Canadian market. Likely to open lower. German investor confidence highest in 4 months. In December, ZW. Profiting from the crypto boom. Okta Broker's Guide to Leverage Trading.
Cool. So there's our update. On the left-hand side, you see the news. So what we're looking at here is retail sales, and this is what we care about, right? Yep. Yep. Okay, so retail sales month over month. Previous was 0.4. The market is expecting 0.5. I can tell you through my detailed research on traders.com that the 4-month average is 0.67. Okay, if you don't know that, you don't know jack about what you're doing. So I can put this into the context of this could actually be a bit low. 7 minutes, you see? 7 minutes. Can you see that? It's It's nice to have this, isn't it? I love it. Okay. About every 15 minutes, you get a new pattern if a new pattern exists. So over here, you have technical analysis. Here's the headlines. You get, it checks every minute and then reads them to you out loud. So, hey, trader, did you hear the news? Now you can hear the news. So the idea is you have this running in the background while you're trading. You don't even need to watch it. You can just open up the page, minimize it, and you can just listen to the news as you trade. It reads the headlines, but it also gives you, right, the results. It's really nice. 6 minutes. Yeah. So it's good to know, isn't it? Like that I've already gone through and like, I guess I could show you just for fun to show you how awesome traders.com is. And I open in a new tab. Okay, under fundamentals, you go to economic activity, you go to retail sales, and then you're like, hey, TRADARS, give me a 4-month average. Oh, look, 0.67. Look, I'm not full of it. I know my stuff. How nice is that? Maybe you just want to do like, you can do this a little faster and say, just give me the last quarter. Okay? Yeah, there you go, 0.45. So here's what happened. The market said, yeah, if you wondered like, where does this 0.5 come from? It's a quarterly average. Where do you get it? How about traders.com? Where does he get these wonderful toys? Who's this? Yeah. I gave this suit and this shirt to charity, but I still like this tie. G'day, Wade. How are ya? How's your mum? No. TRADARS.com. TRADARS.com. Radars for traders. Radars for traders. Yeah, Chris, it's a great idea. Right now, I want to give it away for free.
US dollar Swiss franc price forecast extends winning streak for 8th trading day. Kickstart the FX trading day with a technical look at the Euro US dollar yen, and pound US dollar.
The retail sales report in the United States provides an aggregate assessment of retail goods and services sales over the course of a month. The most dominant types of retail sales are motor vehicles and parts dealers. So that's why we take them out sometimes. Food and beverage stores, okay, groceries, general merchandise, we'll call it, right, clothing or something. Food and services establishments, okay, restaurants. 10% of this are gas stations. See, the problem with that is if gas prices are high, retail sales go up. If gasoline prices fall, retail sales go down. So you might want to take out energy as well. So very often you look at removing the gas stations and removing cars. Cars are very influenced by interest rates because you either borrow money to buy a car or you lease your car, so on and so forth. Yeah. And when was the last time you were in a music store? To what? To do what? Buy a CD? I was actually in one probably a year ago, but it was vinyl. So we want to look at headline. Okay. You can see it's been ticking up a little bit, and that might be concerning to the Fed. One minute, it'll start flashing in the last 1 minute. So it's really 1 minute until the 1 minute warning. I know. So you're looking at this spot right here. Okay, 58 seconds. We're flashing, baby. We're also looking at inflation in Canada. Okay, so you're going to get both numbers here. Data hasn't come out, Chris, so how would I know? Okay, if it's high, it probably means the Fed won't cut as many times, and that would be dollar strength. If it's low, the Fed can go ahead and cut, and that would probably weaken. Right on, blue boy. Here we go. 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Is it higher or lower? Higher or lower? Higher or lower? Higher or lower? 2.6 in Canada, higher inflation. Canada's got high inflation. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. They won't be able to cut interest rates to try to save their economy. Still no headline number. Don't know why. Sorry, y'all. All y'all don't have a number. Wait for it. Whoa, what? What? It's still not out? What the hey? 0.7, yeah, but year over year. 0.7's high. Remember, I predicted 0.67. Oh, 3.8, 3.8, 3.8, 3.8. Much bigger than last month. Okay. Cool, man. Got it. Look at that. Wow. So, what does it mean, Basel? Okay. Yeah, month over month is what we already did. Remember, my prediction was 0.67. Great. So not too bad. Okay. Okay, so yeah, mixed bag on the scalping opportunities. And remember too, these patterns are based on what's happened in the past. But what we're doing now is much more behavioral. A bad number
Canada Bank of Canada Consumer
could be
Price
good,
Index
and a good
Core,
number could be bad.
MOM, dipped from previous 0.4% to 0% in November.
United States retail sales ex autos, MOM, came in at 0.2%, below expectations, 0.4% in November. Crude oil supply set to expand further, even despite a decline in Russian seaborne crude.
It's cool, right? So it's already reading the headline X autos to you. It's cool, right? It's reading the Bank of Canada news to you. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's go to the charts. Go to indices. Okay. La, 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 la. So down is good, up is bad. Yeah, it's good that you started, Blue Boy. I'm probably going to double or triple the price. So I'm glad you got it. Okay, we can go to a much smaller time frame. Go to a fiver. Okay, so the initial news is read like this. So far, retail sales are strong. The American consumer is strong. There's no hard landing. So the Fed won't be able to cut as much. The behavioral side of that would be dollar strength. But people, at least at first glance here, are moving more towards, that means 2025 is going to be fine. Even if the Fed doesn't slash interest rates to 2%, let's say they only slash interest rates to 4%. America will just be fine. It'll be perfectly fine. No crash, no recession, all that kind of stuff. And things get a little bit cheaper. So that opens up things like real estate. That opens up things like car loans. Okay? Coach, or sorry, I'm Coach. Sky Killer, don't even worry about it. That is so far off into the distant future. It's just, don't worry about it. I do like the idea in general, though, of a smaller government. And also the guy they put in at the Treasury, one of the things he recommends to government is that they cut deficit spending and pay down the debt. I'm like, dude, this might be a cool administration. I like to hear stuff like that. Is it going to be 2 trillion? No. But hey, starting is a whole new thing. Great, let's start it. All right, so here's that little bounce. This is the idea that, well, you have to take out Fed cuts, which is the same as raising future interest rates from where we expected them to be. And that would be the dollar strength. So which one is it? Well, you can't do both. You have to be one or the other. I spent an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours yesterday, talking about this in the day trading group.
U.S. retail sales rise 0.7% in November versus 0.5% expected. Xterio partners with Reka to build emotionally intelligent AI agents for gaming and beyond. Canada Consumer Price Index, MOM, meets forecasts, 0% in November. Canada New Housing Price Index, year over year, down to 0.2% in November from previous 0.8%.
So all those headlines just came out in the last 1 minute. So we've been watching the charts. We've been talking about trading and investing. If you were surfing FX Street and CNN and CNBC and MSBC and, Market Watch, and if you wouldn't be looking at your charts. You'd be surfing and reading these headlines and articles, but you wouldn't actually be doing your job. So here we are talking about trading and investing, and we're analyzing charts, in this case, indices of all the different currencies. Meanwhile, we just got updated on 4 headlines that hit the wires in the last 1 minute. Holy smokes. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Then if I do something here, you guys got to come to the quarterly outlook. Let me do this one. I have to get the link. Open this up again. Yeah. I'm doing a quarterly outlook right at the beginning of the annual outlook, I should say, with follow-up sessions. But right at the beginning of January, I'm going to go over fundamentally and seasonally. I'm going to help you understand what the shape of all of next year is likely to be. And we're going to address questions like what will happen to the stock market if Trump jacks up tariffs. I'll be able to answer that, not with opinion, by what has happened in the past. And it's a little more complicated than you think, because there's another variable that will also be important. So I'll discuss all of this in great detail, and then 3 months later we'll do a follow-up because things will change. So now we will think about what Trump is likely to do, then what Trump has already started to do, and then follow up with the tit for tat in international political economics. So if we raise tariffs on Europe, how do they respond? Okay, and then a year end, right? So all 4 meetings are $50. $50 for all 4 meetings. Pay once. So we're going to do that right at the beginning of the year, the first real tradable Wednesday of the year. It's time for you to sign up. Okay? And so we can cover like sky killers like, well, what if Elon actually cuts 2 trillion and all that kind of stuff? You can ask me about that, and I'm likely to give a similar answer, right? Sky Killer. I'm like, well, these other things are much more important, but we might be able to spend some time and discuss how government spending can impact GDP. And then we can discuss, like, when would that likely happen? Okay, but that's the opportunity when we talk about big picture stuff. Yeah. And you do not have to be a member of traders.com. Now, I think it'll ask you to create an account, right, Chris? So basically, you get a free account at traders.com. And it unlocks the portion of traders.com that houses the live events. So we have, like, basically a Zoom, right? We basically have a Zoom room built into our site. It's not actually Zoom, it's embedded technology. So, but it's a Zoom-like room that you'll be able to access. And then I keep the recording around for a week or so and then delete it. Okay, cool. And we'll use the same room and all that kind of stuff. And see, instead of creating 4 individual events and charging $15 each, less than that, $12.50 each, I create it once because then I can send one email, I can set up reminders, and I can do all that work, which takes hours, and it automates everything. And so I spend less time. You see what I mean? Like, that's why I did it this way. It's right here. What day? I don't know. I don't know what day. Yeah. I don't know, Chris. Yeah. So anyway.
Canada annual CPI inflation softens to 1.9% in November versus 2% expected. Canada November new housing price index plus 0.1% versus 0.4% prior.
How to trade the Fed rate decision.
Bitcoin price forecast. BTC extends upside above 107K as MicroStrategy and Riot expand Bitcoin holdings.
It's cool, right?
Canada annual CPI inflation softens to 1.9% in November versus 2% expected. Canada November new
So this
housing
is
price
the
index
45-minute
11.1%
update.
versus 0.4% prior.
How to trade the Fed rate decision.
Bitcoin price forecast. BTC extends upside above 107K as MicroStrategy and Riot expand Bitcoin holdings.
U.S. retail sales rise 0.7% in November versus 0.5% expected. Xterio partners with Reka to build emotionally intelligent AI agents for gaming and beyond. Canada Consumer Price Index, MOM, meets forecasts, 0% in November. Canada New Housing Price Index, year over year, down to 0.2% in November from previous 0.8%. Canada Bank of Canada Consumer Price Index Core, MOM, dipped from previous 0.4% to 0% in November.
United States retail sales ex autos, MOM, came in at 0.2%, below expectations, 0.4% in November.
So it does a headline review at the 45 and at the 15-minute, which I really like when I'm trading and it just runs all. I listen to it again versus as they come out. It's a good update to hear it a couple of times, which was really nice. It's all Swiss franc. No scalp, no scalp. A little bit of a scalp? Guess so. Interesting. Okay, so I just want to show you. Our research at traders.com indicate we can draw the following conclusions about the expected movement of euro dollar based on the last 12 retail sales events in the United States. 85.7% chance that the 2-hour trend will be down when the actual is greater than consensus. Okay, 85.7. And we saw that in November. We saw it in October. We saw it in September. We saw it in August. We saw it in April. And that's how we get to these conclusions. And so, well, let's go back. Let me bring it up here. I don't think it'll fit if I do this. Hang on. Oh, wrong one. Is that the right one? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, I'll bring it back. Let's just do it this way. Guess that's all that matters, right? So if you were going to play that, you would sell at resistance and all that kind of stuff. So maybe this ends up being a pullback, but remember, it's only a 2-hour scalp. Chris says the pound CAD pattern you mentioned yesterday played out nicely. Sweet. So it's really unclear how the market is trading this, because remember, there's two forces here. Force number one, for those that are buying, they're buying no recession. Sorry. No recession. Okay. Up here, what they're doing is less cuts. Which one is right? Well, they're both right. That's what it is.
U.S.
like.
dollar sees
What do
retail
you
sales not meeting
want
expectations.
to do?
Markets head after the services PMI beat. U.S. retail sales climbed more than expected in November.
What team are you on? If you had to pick one or the other, what would you trade? What team are you guys on? Well, yeah, but Jim, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Both of these are being played out right now. And they're both correct. And even though we have the statistical data of what's happened in the past in a scenario just like this, it doesn't mean the past had the same behavioral concerns that are going into today. Well, no. So if there's no recession, if that's what you're playing, that's a weaker dollar. If you're doing less Fed cuts, that's a stronger dollar. So a trigger for, like, so Jim says less cuts, that means $0 down. Yeah. Well, that's just my opinion, right, Jim? Like, but if that's what you were going to do, you could watch the 2155 on the 5 minute or the 1 minute before you get involved. So you don't have to sell here, although that's what that means. You have to understand this pink zone is a sell zone. Doesn't mean it'll work. If people are like, oh my God, look at retail sales. Yay, everything's going to be awesome. It'll override all of that. My worst case scenario, though, is that it goes up for 2 hours and then down for 2 hours. And that's because of all the mess of news this week. Yeah, there could be a lot going on here that is just sort of unusual behavior. Okay, so it's good news in the beginning that the Fed won't need to cut because we're not going into a recession. But then some people need the cut or priced in the cut, and so then they have to price that out. And then
U.S. dollar,
have to do
Canadian
something.
dollar stays firm slightly below 1.4300 after U.S. retail sales, Canadian CPI data release.
Gold remains on its back foot after strong U.S. retail sales. Canadian population growth slowed +0.4% in Q3.
Oil prices fall ahead of Fed meeting. Soft Chinese economic data weighs.
So, see, you just got updated on Chinese economic data. How does that make you feel? You're like, oh yeah, well, Chinese economic data seems weak right now. I was just updated. It just came out. It's 9 o'clock. It just came out. Now you've been updated. It's a selling pivot, Chris. So remember, bears sell high. Well, don't think of it as overbought or oversold. That's different. If you were a bear, okay, then that is like statistically a place to sell, because bears sell high. They don't want to sell higher highs. So if we're going to maintain lower highs and lower lows, this would be statistically where you'd expect it to be. So the reason, Chris, that this happened, you see that? That's precisely because of the pink zone. So now we've had news come out, so it's a singularity. The laws of physics don't apply here for a while, okay? But the standard operating procedure for a bear on euro dollar in Asia would be to sell right in this zone. So that's just a boring sell. It's actually disappointing because it didn't go lower and hit our target. Well, that's probably because of all the news today. But if you know the basics of how to trade and you're a bear on euro dollar, oh yeah, well that's where you sell. See, most newer traders or amateur traders, they don't even know that. So it all seems magic to them. This chart is set up as a bear because I am a bear. And I can articulate why. Now, in the price action that we're having now, it is not bearish. Okay, so I do not sell Sam I am. But I'm still fundamentally a bear. So maybe I'll sell later today. Maybe I'll sell tomorrow. Maybe I'll sell next week. Maybe I won't get any selling opportunities till the end of the year. I don't know that. I just know how to do technical analysis and I know how to do fundamentals. So if I'm a bear in Asia, that's an easy sell. And now I would be sitting around if I was going to maintain a bearishness and focus on the less Fed cut issue. It's going up, right? So I'm wrong. No, I'm not wrong. What do you mean I'm wrong? I'm not wrong. It's just not falling now. So I could sit here and I just wait for my opportunity. Looking at this hourly chart, there is no trend. I can show you I'm a bear because I've been a bear a while. I've already planned it all out. None of this is magical. What's happened is probably year-end flows in and out have turned this fundamental move into a range. Because, and you guys might remember this, I clearly articulated that the markets, by the time we get to 1212, will not be acting fundamentally and they will not be acting technically. People will be entering and exit trades based on the mechanics of managing money. Year-end rotation, year-end rebalancing, year-end taxation. Not technical and fundamental analysis. How many people here remember that conversation? I probably did it 3 times over 3 days. Anybody? I'm trying to teach you how the market works. If you don't understand how money works, then how are you supposed to buy and trade money? You're a money trader. So how are you supposed to trade money if you don't understand how money works? So again, that's what's going on. Nobody remembers? All right. Jim always remembers. Yes. Good. Timo's in. Jimmy and Timo. Really? Nobody else remembers that? Oh, that's too bad, so sad. Should take notes.
Euro US dollar drops as Fed to support more gradual rate cut approach.
United States Red Book Index, year over year, climbed from previous 4.2% to 4% in December 13th. Futures pointing to initial pullback on Wall Street.
Isn't this neat? You just got updated on the Red Book. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to share solid intelligence. I know the guys that are scalping 30 pips and making $3,000 in a morning are more exciting on YouTube, but they're a disservice. Selling dreams to poor people. But hey, man, that's been going on forever. You know, like when I was at the Colosseum in Rome, I think about all the vendors set up outside of the Colosseum, right? And there's a guy over there, he's selling salvation, and there's this other guy over here selling how to get rich quick. How to get rich quick. Right? This guy's selling food, this guy's selling wine, that girl, she's selling 5 t-shirts for, right? 10 t-shirts for Ted and doubloon. I don't even know what you call Roman coins. But anyways, 10 pieces of silver. I don't know. That sounds too much for a t-shirt. But I don't know the valuation back then. But the thing is, I can think of a couple of things. One of them is another Italy story. There's a place in Venice that still makes and repairs the gondolas. There's only one left. And it's active. And so what tourists do is, on the other side of the canal from this repair and manufacturing facility, there's a little kind of restaurant, and the tourists go over there and they get the food and they get their wine, and they sit there and they look over the water and they can see the people working on the gondolas. I called them. I'm like, I want to bring my wife and children in to see the facility and like hang out with you while you work. And they're like, if you make a donation, I'm like, oh, I'll make a donation. So I made a donation and they let us in. And so I talked to, it's like 3 brothers, a sister, and a father, and it's been the same family for quite some time. And it's skills that have been passed down through the ages. And there is a facility where they're gathering and aging the wood that is required to then, by hand, make a gondola. And the gondola needs to be stiff, but it needs a twist. They're not even built in a straight line like a canoe. They actually are twisted a little bit because they're designed because the gondolier stands on one side, so it would lean. So you got to build the boat to opposite, so when the guy stands on it, it actually is now level, and there's a bend to it and a twist to it, and so a flexibility yet firmness, right? It's flexible but yet stiff. And there's lots of aging going in, and it's all done by hand, and it's really something. So we really got in there, and we saw them repairing some, and we saw them manufacturing one. They make like one per year. You know, it's a big deal, right? Right on the water in Venice. Same spot for 1,000 years or something, right? So anyways, I like stories like that where there's no get rich quick. They're not even doing it to get rich. They have pride in the artisan aspect of doing what they do, and no one else can do it at all, yet alone do it as good as them. There is no other place in Venice anymore. There used to be hundreds, and now they're the last remaining. Okay, cool. I like that. That's the story I like. I hate stories of some guy making a bet on gold and making $1 billion quick. I think that's stupid. Another story that I like, and I think I don't know if it's English or European, of some, like it might be Italian as well, but I read a story about how pipes are made. And like, how come when you smoke a pipe, the pipe doesn't catch on fire? Oh, they use roots. They use the root of the tree, not the branch of the tree. It's much more dense. It's almost like stone. So I read about how, because I was interested, like, hey, should I buy a pipe? I'm a cigar guy, but I'm like, pipes are interesting. I don't know, like, how do you judge a fine pipe? So here's the process. You work your whole life. Right? You start out as an apprentice, and then you work your whole life, and eventually you carve and carve and carve, and you get really good at making pipes. Okay, great. Then one day it's time for you to hire your apprentice. Now, historically, your apprentice would have been your son. So you take your teenage boy, and you're going to teach him how to make pipes. So the first thing you need to do is teach him patience and discipline, right? So you take him out to the forest. You cut down a giant, I think they're oak trees, and you dig up the roots of an old, 200-year-old oak tree. You dig it up. You know how much work that is? It's almost inconceivable to do it by hand. It would take months to dig this thing out. And then you drag it out into the field where you can get it sun exposure to the sunshine so that it can dry. Well, once he's done this rites of passage, right, you take him back, and then you teach him how to carve, and he starts carving. But the roots, like you get a little piece of root, now you have to carve the little end where the pipe is going to be, and it's almost like stone. It's so dense. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of strain and a lot of skill, but patience and patience and patience and patience and patience and patience. But to hand carve one of these things becomes a work of art, right? So here's the interesting thing. The apprentice is carving the wood from the oak tree that you dug up as a young child. And the wood has to sit in the field drying in the sun for 25 years. So when the apprentice becomes the master, having carved for 20 years, decades, right? And the old man has moved on, then the new carver, the new master, has to take on an apprentice. Again, probably his son, and he takes the son out and digs up the roots of an oak tree and drags the stump and the roots and everything out into the field to dry for decades. Isn't that cool? So it takes decades to make something. Those are the stories I appreciate. When you tell me some guy or some gal made a boatload of money quickly, I'm like, why don't you just rob a bank if that's important to you? That's probably the fastest. Or you just become a drug dealer. Maybe prostitution. Pfft, you make pretty good money in a night. Look, I made $1,000 last night. Uh-huh. I'm not interested in that. It's the skill, the art, the sharing, the education, the training, the learning, the mastery. That's what impresses me. Yeah. So with that, we got the market opening soon, so I will bid you adieu. I have a cigar in my humidor made in 1990. How many years is that? Is that 34 years? Almost 35 years old. I'm going to smoke this cigar because it's been such a great 24 hours. And I have lots to think about and contemplate, lots of things to write down. Lots of amazing things coming up for 2025. It's fantastic. Okay? Getting rich quick sounds like a fool's errand to me. It's very unimpressive. It's almost like, right? But this cigar took 35 years to make. I appreciate that. Chris, what does it cost? Time. It's been in my humidor for years. I'm a patient dude, Chris. So I had a bunch of buddies over here about 18 months ago. And we're in my backyard hanging out. We had couches and stuff out by the pool and smoking cigars and drinking. I had a 60-year-old port wine, and we're just having a good old time. And one of the things we're talking about
pulls back following strong U.S. retail sales. Pound sterling gains against U.S. dollar despite upbeat U.S. retail sales data. Euro U.S. dollar consolidates despite increasing political woes in Europe, OCBC.
And so I came up with an idea back with the group where I'm going to age cigars in French cognac and other cigars in premium coffee beans. And so I spent a lot of time with the coffee beans because they're dry and you don't want your cigars to dry out. So I had to moisturize, yes, my coffee beans. Because they've been roasted, they're dry. So I had to bring them back up to about 70% humidity. It took a month. And then I put cigars in this airtight box. And I opened them up for the second time. And they're amazing. If you like the smell of coffee and tobacco, oh my God. But here's the thing. All right, Chris, what does it cost? I don't know. So I bought premium cigars. I took loving care of them. This was 18 months ago. They've been sitting there aging in this coffee for 18 months. They may stay there another 6 months. And then I'm going to take that cigar out and enjoy it. I have cigars in my humidor that I've had nearly 10 years. So is it cost? It's patience. If you can learn how to defer your pleasure. Most people just go to a cigar shop, buy a cigar, smoke it, and that's that. I'll buy a cigar and I'll sit on it for 5 or 6 years, aging it to perfection. Imagine you took investing like that and trading like that. You're like, that was your attitude. Patience and discipline, huh? And let me tell you, the results are extraordinary. Michael just had a question about scalping. You can make money scalping, that's for sure, but it's the hardest amount of work, Michael. In my opinion, excuse me, you can make money fast, but it's the least efficient way to make money. There's no way to compound. Therefore, you'll never get wealthy. You might make a lot of money because you're skippity-scalping, but it's like going to work every day, like going to a factory. Hey, as long as you show up to work, you make $100 a day. As long as you show up, maybe you make your $100 or $1,000, whatever you do, scalping, depends on how much money you have, right? But here's the thing, let me tell you, because I spent years scalping. I know how to scalp. I'm not a fool. But the thing is, I know eventually what happens is you emotionally and even physically break down because it's so much work, Michael. So try it every day, 12 hours a day for 5 years. You will physically and mentally break down. And all of a sudden, letting your winners run sounds really good. But knowing how to scalp means you know how to get into trades. Knowing fundamentals is knowing how to let your winners run. TRADARS will offer that to you. If you want to scalp, we have scalping tools. We have amazing scalping tools. But if you're going to become wealthy, see, rich is about how much money you make. Being wealthy is how much money your money makes. So being rich is okay. Being wealthy is significantly better. I can teach you how to do both. I can give you the tools on how to do both. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Thank you, guys. You're the best. I love hanging out with you. I'm going to be over in and out at the news, the headline news radar. Let me get you that link so you can subscribe. Okay, let me get you this link so you can subscribe. I guess I could have just typed this in. Instead of giving you the direct link, you can click on the video. It's probably easier to do it this way. Okay, so you go over here, and this is the News Squawk. You can chat with other fellow traders. You get the real-time calendar. You get the real-time headlines. You get the 15 and 45 updates. You get the technical analysis. You get live price feeds. So please enjoy. Hey, trader, have you heard the news? Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. And please, I'm trying to get YouTube. I got to get this to 500 subscribers. And all that kind of stuff. So please like and subscribe. YouTube is watching. I appreciate your help getting this to the next level. Have a wonderful day. You earned it. Cheers.
U.S. November industrial production 0.1% versus plus 0.3%. U.S. November expected. Industrial production 0.1% versus plus 0.3% expected. United States industrial production